Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Conversations, where we break down the biggest stories shaping politics, media, and society. I'm your host, Keandre Cox, and today we've got a lot to cover. First up, we are diving into Trump's latest move to freeze federal funding, what it means for key programs, the legal battles it's sparking, and who's being hit the hardest. Then, a major shakeup in the world of journalism. Social media influencers are now being allowed press credentials at the White House. Is this a win for independent voices or a threat to journalistic integrity? And finally, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. takes the hot seat in his confirmation hearing. With his controversial views on public health, will he get the votes to become the Secretary of Health and Human Services? There is plenty to discuss, so let's get into it. All right, Tristan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Schoolwork, uh, same old. Writing a paper in the archives all week. But other than that, not too much is going on other than the usual. How about you?
Same old, working hard, man. The nonprofit's keeping me busy. I've had a busy week with that, so I'm happy that Friday is here. And it's been a busy week in the world of politics, in the world of news. So we got a lot to talk about this week. Um, but first, we want to send our statement and address the situation that happened in D.C. Regarding the plane crash. We have a statement here that we want to put out. Tristan and I send our thoughts and prayers to the family and loved ones of those impacted by the collision of American Airlines Flight 5342 and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. We were saddened to learn that there are no expected survivors. This is a tragic time for our nation. We will continue to monitor the story as it progresses and will provide updates as we learn more. Did you want to add anything, Tristan?
I will. This is a national tragedy, and like you said, my thoughts and prayers and my heart goes out to the victims. Um, can't imagine, all those people seeing the airport, getting ready to land, getting excited, thinking they're going to hit the runway, and then all of a sudden they end up, what happened. So thoughts and prayers, and sad time for the aviation industry. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a sad time. We haven't had a federal crash in the U.S. in 16 years, so it's that this is major. But we are praying for those that are involved. I know that we have a lot of friends that are going to DC this weekend for the DNC meeting. So I was concerned about them. I spent a lot of time on the phone making sure everybody was safe from that. A lot of them got rerouted to Dulles Airport, so we're glad that they're safe. And we are praying for those that were impacted by this accident. All right, Tristan, this week in the White House, President President Trump has been busy. He put out another executive order, and this time he attempted to freeze federal funding. And you and I, who have an understanding of law, who have an understanding of government, we understand that the president cannot freeze money that Congress has already approved. But nevertheless, he tried to do so anyway. And so I am interested to hear from your smart mind, what do you think of this situation?
Okay, so give me 1 second, just 1 second. So I want to make sure the people know that I'm not making it up. Straight from the Constitution of the United States.
Tristan, you pulled out the actual U.S. Constitution.
I pulled out my constitutional law case book that has it in here in the front, and it clearly says that, paraphrasing, wait a minute, give me a second. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments on other bills. So it's saying here and in other sections that Congress has the power of the purse. Article 1 of the United States Constitution. The Congress, Section 8, shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts, and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of ways and measures. So obviously, clear language of the Constitution. No, he couldn't do this, and he got backlash and tried to rescind it, but he didn't really rescind it. He got backlash from both parties saying you can't do this, and you're cutting off all kinds of funds with all kinds of places and creating national chaos. But I will say this is intentional. He intended to create national chaos. Um, this is testing the waters. This is him seeing how much pushback he would get. And this is just one example of what has been just in this brief presidency so far, second term, and what will be him doing clearly unconstitutional stuff, trying to check to see how far his own party pushes him or how far people in general push him. And then, so if he wouldn't have had backlash, he would have left it up and waited for the court to strike it down. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, it's chaotic. You have folks going everywhere, and pretty much that's my thoughts on it. I think it's just kind of a cut and clear thing. It was unconstitutional. He didn't have the right to do it, but he did it anyway, and he got backlash, and he rescinded it.
No, I'm in agreement with you, man. And like you said on several of our discussions, it's by nature to be cruel, because why on earth would he attempt to freeze what's already approved? It's utter insanity. We're talking about funding for people that are on food stamps. We're talking about student loans. We're talking about, I think he was even attempting to freeze some money from the infrastructure bill that was passed in a bipartisan way under the Biden administration. And it's all unconstitutional. But it's not like it is. Trump does not believe in the Constitution.
I'll tell you
Right?
why. Also, he, and I think I forget which one it was. I think it was Senator Murphy. He said that Trump wants to turn the U.S. Treasury into his own personal bank to reward his political allies. If he could think about it, they will say stuff like, they've been doing this since the Reagan administration. We want, when they do these, get rid of these big tax cuts. He's already said this tax cut's going to be bigger than 2017, which is the biggest tax cut in U.S. history. Mm-hmm. That made the Reagan 82 tax cut look minuscule, do the deficit up. He wants to cut off funding from all of what they call these entitlement programs, these social benefit programs, so that there's more money left in the pot for him to do major tax cuts for billionaires and large corporations to help his billionaire friends, CEO friends who funded his re-election campaign. I pat your back. It's 1880 style Gilded Age patronage. This is part of all those DEI employees in the federal bureaucracy and in the federal government that he fired under DEI or got on indefinite suspension. He's getting ready to try to get them all fired because he can put his sycophants, the people who helped him, in those positions. It's just straight patronage. It's straight 1880s Gilded Age style patronage. So yeah, that's the reason why he did it. He's trying to free all that money up to where it's not going nowhere anymore. So he can use it to fund tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. Some of them who have GDP bigger than the small countries, or some of them rather who have profits that's more than GDPs of small countries. Mm-hmm. And so he could do tax cuts for his billionaire friends.
Well said. I don't think I have any more to add to it. I will just say, if he had got his way, if he was able to freeze the funding, then the states that were going to hurt were the states that voted for him. And that's the fact of the matter. Republican states, Republicans in general, use welfare a whole lot more than we do as people of color or as Democrats. So, I mean, he ran on helping people with the economy. He ran on putting more money in their pockets. And I think people are starting to see more and more every day that once again, like we told you, he lied to you. That was never the intention whatsoever. But that's what they voted for. Um, and we can only hope that the courts continue to uphold the law, because that's how this got stopped, right? This
That's the
was
main
this was
concern.
stopped by a federal judge, and so our only hope is that the courts will continue to uphold the law, will continue to uphold the Constitution, because that's all that's left in front. We know
I,
that Congress isn't going to do anything about it, and go ahead.
I think that one saving grace, because we know how the federal court system work. If a federal judge blocks something or whatever, it can only be overturned by the Court of Appeals. And if the Court of Appeals only be overturned if the Supreme Court grants cert, and the Supreme Court has uh, not mandatory, if I got the word for it, but it's like they can choose whether they want to take some up or not. So I think the only saving grace is even most conservative, even Trump appointed appellate court and Supreme Court judges and justices, they know this stuff's unconstitutional, but they don't want to have to rule against it because they'll upset the base. So, and they're conservatives. So I think that they are more than happy to let these uh, Biden and Obama appointee, even some Clinton appointees and are still on, let them block this stuff at the federal, at the district court level, and just not take it up at the appellate court level, so they have to deal with it. And they know most people don't understand how that really works, so
Mm-hmm.
they can just pass the ball. Look, this Obama judge blocked it. I ain't got to touch it, so I'm not gonna. I want to deny you trying to appeal it. That's probably one thing that's saving us is these Obama and Biden district court judges, because it's district court, appeals court, Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, that's our only saving grace, and we can only hope that they will continue to uphold the law. Um, but moving on, um, the White House has, of course, appointed a new press secretary. And among many things that she said on her first day on the job, they are now allowing podcasters and social media influencers to receive press credentials at the White House. I will tell you that my feelings are mixed on this,
You know what that means.
because no, but I'm mixed on it because I'm all for independent journalism. People like Don Lemon or like the Pod Save America guys. I'm all for that kind of journalism. My concern with doing this is the integrity of the people that's going to receive the credentials
You know
and
damn
their
well
experience and qualifications.
no press pass.
Sorry, repeat that.
You know damn well he's not giving Don Lemon and Van Jones no press passes.
That's my point, and that's a concern. That's like it's a good idea in theory because it gives access to independent journalists. Um, but like you said, that's I don't think that's the intention. I think that he wants to bring on the Joe Rogans and
Carl,
such.
Bill
To,
O'Reilly,
yeah, he wants to bring on those that have no integrity, that are
Q,
not going to be truthful.
the Proud Boys. That's who you want to bring in as independent journalists. Crazy.
Yeah, it's so. Like I said, I'm mixed on it. I think it's a good idea in theory. I think that it would be good for the country because we do consume our news and media in a different way now. Not everybody is watching legacy media. Not everybody watches CNN or MSNBC. A lot of young people that are our age get their news from TikTok, from Twitter, what X now. So it's in theory it's a good idea, and I would like to give them the credit for it. But like you said, there is some concern um, about who's going to receive these credentials and what level of integrity do they have, what are their qualifications. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I know that she said that she would give them a seat in the front of the house, so that's interesting, to say the least.
The
But
downfall of society. Getting our news from TikTok and Twitter. Because, like, okay, there is something that was called the Fairness Doctrine. It got repealed by the Reagan administration, and then right after that, Fox News and Rush Limbaugh. No coincidence. Fairness Doctrine was a law that required the big three networks, CBS, NBC, ABC, to be objective and balanced. They had 30 minutes of concern. They had to have 30 minutes. They had to be balanced. So, the days when Walter Cronkite would come on CBS, tell you what happened that day. He would tell you this is what happened. He wouldn't give you an opinion. He would tell you down the middle, this is what happened, and sign off. And you would determine yourself what you think about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, first of all, like people like Walter Cronkite, Dan Rather, like they were journalists. They went to school. These folks, first of all, and they were dedicated to actually giving you the actual facts. TikTok, you probably getting something that one way or the other is not 100% objective, might not be 100% true at all, and you're taking it as news, but it's not news. It's someone's opinion, not an outright fabrication or a lie. So what you said about X and Twitter being our generation's news, God help us all. But back to what you said about the press thing, in a perfect world, like you said, yeah, it'd be great in a perfect world, but we have a madman, a crazy quackpot person in the White House. It's not a perfect world. Van Jones, who I think is independent now, Jim Acosta. Let's talk about how CNN is starting to walk the
No,
Trump.
let's get into it, because CNN, I don't watch CNN anymore because CNN is more and more leaning toward the right. They don't have the same integrity they used to have. They're firing people that will be critical of the president. CNN is losing respect.
CNN was the main network that enabled Trump's return to the presidency because they would not highlight Biden's successes. He's old, he's feeble, he's demented,
Speak on it.
all that kind of stuff. And they would not highlight the man's successes, what he did. They were almost like they weren't actively being Fox News and, tearing into Biden, but they also weren't like when Obama was in office, they were always on it. When they were trying to loud Obama or not give Obama credit for stuff, but it's just different. But yeah, so I don't think that these people who are independent now, because CNN fired all of them, Jim Acosta, Chris Cuomo, Van Jones, Don Lemon, you know good and well that Trump would fire her and fire her next two assistants after her if she get them boys press passes. They're going to have the Proud Boys, QAnon, maybe even the damn Klan. They're going to have somebody from their organizations that probably come up with some kind of sham news outlet, and you get a press pass, and then he going to have nobody in there but folks who, like, or for CNN or for Fox or for different mainstream media who are afraid of him now, or because they don't want to, he's threatened in a way that no president has ever done before to like cripple and hurt these news organizations if they don't kiss the ring through different mechanisms. Like, there's different bureaucratic ways that even private organizations can be, affected. They are a news channel. There's too much to get into in the weeds right now, but and he's going to let them be them plus people who are just straight out like white supremacists and neo-nationalists. This will be in their pressure. It's going to be a hot mess for 4 years. I already miss our girl, Jen. I hate she gone. But man, yeah. It's going to be a mess. No one in that room is going to really challenge him. And like the day somebody asked them, are you going to visit the site of the wreck, of the tragedy? Obviously, they meant, are you going to go stand on the sidewalk or go to the airport or somewhere and lay a wreath or something? He told them folks, in response to 64 people dying, the worst airline disaster in decades.
No, please say what he said. Please say what he said.
Do you want me to go swimming? Want me to go swimming? People died. This is one of the worst airline disasters in American history. People, do you want me to go? Like, my mind cannot. At this point, he has to be purposefully brash and rude and condescending and maleficent. 64 families at least are. You have young children who were on the figure skating team, future Olympians, died in a plane crash. Parents mourning their young and teenage children. American Airlines reeling. because they have a history. Pretty much, if you look up, if a plane crashes, probably American Airlines, and the government, the military is reeling. All this is going on, national tragedy, and this is what you say. So yeah, he doesn't want. There's no way that you could have had a
his
dual
his
pasta in.
whole communications office, they need some help. Because I don't know if you saw the release that he put out on Truth Social. But it was unbecoming of a president. I cannot believe that
That's the
this
point.
was.
It's purposeful.
I cannot believe that that was an official statement from the president of the United States. It's
Did you see Obama and Biden's responses?
Mhm.
Presidential.
Yeah,
It's
it's
on purpose. It's his brand. His supporters. They a lot of them. Now a lot of them did vote for him because they lied and they believed that they believe this lie about the price of eggs and stuff, and they already have buyer's remorse. But the ones who are his diehard supporters, the ones who are a little prejudiced or maybe in the whole culture war stuff, or maybe
Mhm.
they distrust government, anything that reminds them of the establishment or presidential or just any kind of U.S. norm. So him being chaotic and rude and combative and disrespectful, that's on purpose because his base loves it. Anything that's the opposite of how we think that stuff's supposed to happen, even under the Bushes, even under Reagan, they were Republican presidents. They were presidential. Anything that's semi-presidential, anything that's the opposite of it, that's what he does because his base loves it.
No, I'm in agreement, and we will leave it there for this first segment. Let's spin out for a second. We do have quick break in between, and then we'll come right back to you. Hey, Keandre here. Just want to say to all of you that listen to our podcast, thank you. It means a lot to have your support. If you have not already, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to whatever platform that you're listening on. It is the best way to support us. Tristan and I really enjoy doing this podcast. We really enjoy hearing the feedback from you all. So please continue to listen. Please continue to support us. And we will continue to get better as we go along. With that being said, let's get back to the podcast. Thank you for your support. So, for our last topic for this week, Robert Kennedy began his confirmation hearings this week, and they
Junior,
were
Junior,
sorry, Junior,
Robert Junior.
Junior.
He's
Listen,
nothing
he
like his father.
he is like the same old Kennedy. He's like the T-Boo Kennedy. I mean, because he did not do good. I watched the hearings. It's not good at all. It's in my opinion, he is an embarrassment. He is a stain to the Kennedy name. Complete shit show is what happened.
Because I mean, like his uncle President Kennedy, his dad Bobby Senior, Ted Kennedy. And one thing, they might be morally questionable at times. Their politics, they're the Kennedy family is one family in American politics that I can say are true liberal. They all of them are liberal as hell. But even with they shenanigans, one thing Kennedy boys can do historically, Jack, Bobby, Ted, they can speak and they can come up with stuff on the fly, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, collapse. I almost said something else, collapse. And it's because he was asked questions that he kind of knew. Well, I guess he can in a way because he knew I cannot answer these questions honestly and
Mhm.
not real. He's not getting confirmed. I'll be shocked if he gets confirmed. Murkowski is a no. Collins is a no. McConnell's probably a no. He's probably losing 3 or 4 more Republicans. He's probably doomed. And then
He
then
he is even more unqualified than Hexelf is.
and his cousin's letter doesn't help. Caroline probably synced him.
And she never says anything.
No,
She never said. If she came up to
she's
say
famous
something,
silent. She's just like her mother. Jacqueline
yeah,
Kennedy never spoke like she's just like her mom. The spitting image. She's notoriously private. She does not speak out about her family. For her to come out and Maria Shriver, who was her other cousin, came out, and I think Maria Shriver is Jack and Bobby's sister's daughter. So her came out and said, like, this is very uncharacteristic of Caroline. Like, Profiles in Courage, a line from the title of Jack's autobiography. But yeah, like and what she said about him is just deplorable, awful stuff. Someone who is capable of that kind of behavior is not fit for public office
He's
in
not.
any way, shape, or form.
I don't. I feel embarrassed for him because he came from a great family, had a great legacy. He threw away all of his values to get this little bit of power, and if he does not get confirmed, it was all for nothing. It's it's embarrassing. It's disheartening for that family, and my heart goes out to the Kennedy family because I would be embarrassed to have a family member go make a clown of himself like that. You know, with the family last name being attached to him. But I agree with what you said. I don't think that he will be confirmed. I think
And let
that
me say this: people love to say, "Well, forget the Kennedys. They're just no." Listen, I get it. The whole thing about Martha's Vineyard, Hyannisport, privilege, money, whatever. Ted, Bobby, and Jack. If anyone deserves, if any family deserves any kind of leeway, they may be privileged, but that if one family has throughout the last 60 years defended and worked tirelessly for and fought for the values of the Democratic Party and progressivism, it's the Kennedy family. So they do deserve respect. He is a stain to their legacy. You are
yeah,
completely right about that. And yeah, Jack Schlossberg has been destroying him on Twitter. Jack Schlossberg is Caroline's son.
I don't know the full Kennedy family. I know the big ones.
He's pretty big with Gen Z. I think he went to like Harvard Law School or something.
Really?
I think, yeah, he's 31. I think you probably see him on somebody's ballot this couple of years because I mean he spoke at the DNC introducing his mom. I think last year he is much more. He's been on late night talk shows. I mean, he's gonna run for something. You can tell, like, because his cousin.
Well, he should. He should because somebody has got to reclaim the Kennedy name. Somebody has got to.
His cousin ran against Markey and lost, so that didn't work. So now I guess it's his turn.
Yeah, somebody has got to do something because this is not good. This is by far the worst confirmation hearing I've ever watched. I thought that Hetzel did a shitty job. This guy, yeah.
But at least he gave like, I mean, at least at certain points in time, Hesketh could give coherent answers. He could, if he was straight up BS, and he could say something that sounded coherent to a fool.
Mm-hmm.
What Bobby Kennedy Jr. don't even sound coherent to a fool. Like he's just straight up mumbling and bumbling and embarrassing himself.
Yeah. So I think that you and I are both in agreement. He is not getting the job. And that was the question that we were going to discuss here. Is he going to get the votes? I don't think he's getting the votes.
Hell no. Like Sophia said in The Color Purple, hell no.
But there it is. There it is. All right, man. I think that we are approaching our time limit here for the podcast. We try to keep this on. Sorry.
Can I have like 1 minute for?
Go ahead, man. Yeah.
So one thing that is crazy. Use Costco. We talk about these companies that have gotten rid of DEI. I think Walmart's actually going to do a 180 because their stock they're having problems and the board's revolting. Costco, Steve Marshall, the Attorney General of Alabama, is part of like an 18-state coalition to try to force Costco and some of these other companies in Birmingham, where Birmingham's really the only location they got in the state, maybe Huntsville too, forcing them to drop the DEI policies. Alabama is a secondary market for these companies. In the South, the main markets are New Orleans, Nashville, and Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We have no leverage. You can easily close every location in Alabama and say, if you want Costco, you better drive to New Orleans, Atlanta, or New Orleans. So like this DEI stuff with corporations, I'm just real quick, like, what do you think about it? Because I think it's crazy, especially people in states like us who have no leverage to try to force a company to do anything, because really and truthfully, places like Birmingham and Huntsville probably got more stuff than their population really deserves from an economic standpoint.
You just told me something that I didn't know about. I didn't know that he was trying to do that. I think I spent too much time watching national news and I was not paying attention to that. But that's stupid.
Stupid.
Let me just say this because I will put it like this: DEI is good for business. Okay, Costco is breaking in a lot of money right now. Their memberships are shooting through the roof right now because DEI is good for business. It's profitable. People want to shop where they feel appreciated at. People want to work where they feel appreciated at. But in addition to that, by having a diverse team, all right, the numbers don't lie, the stats don't lie. The companies that are in the top percentile have diverse teams. So this whole idea of getting rid of DUI is utter insanity. And let me go ahead and address this because I got into a little debate on Facebook this week with a guy fighting about DUI. To all of my people listening that might be in the macro crowd for whatever reason you listen to my podcast, let me tell you like this, okay? DEI was created to remove race from the conversation. That is why we have DEI. DEI is to give people jobs they're qualified for, regardless of race. There would not be DEI if we had already had that. That's why it exists. It's not about race. So, once again, Trump lied to you. That's
Yeah, that's it. Good night.
that is it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our second episode of the podcast. We thank y'all for your support. Remember that the best way to support us is to like, share, and subscribe to us. We are streaming on YouTube, Apple Music, and Spotify, and we upload on Fridays at 10 o'clock a.m. Thank you for your support. We look forward to seeing y'all next week. Bye bye.